Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is another diamond paint with me while I continue working on Treasure Studios art Cherry Blossom by Lizzie Falcon. I hope to diamond paint more today. Today is Wednesday, September 29th, and I'm off work once again today. Not complaining. I would say over the past year or so, I've come to really just try to, enjoy the time I have off and not panic or become stressed because I don't get paid when I don't work. You have to enjoy your life. I literally feel like I have worked so much in my adult life that I'm tired. Right? So, but yeah, I don't panic anymore when I don't have work. And since purchasing the two needlework stands and the table clamp, I really slowed down on purchases, and I went to the stitching store over the weekend at the retreat. I didn't buy anything. I have so much. I look around and I sat here yesterday and I'm like, I cannot just keep amassing. You know what I mean? Like it just gets to be too much. I mean, I have so much fabric. So many patterns. And I find myself, when I was stitching last night, I'm really enjoying the pattern I'm working on, which is Primrose Cottage Stitches, This is Halloween. I find myself really gravitating towards patterns that have words and motifs. It's easy for me to follow that, if that makes any sense. And the Primrose Cottage Stitches, they have like a Christmas rules pattern that I may kit up and take with me to the retreat I'm going to in December. So I did an unboxing video yesterday of my Dubco stand from Russia. It's fantastic. It's a really, really well-made stand. And someone asked me a question today. Which did I think was better for using in a chair? Well, first of all, I have not received the Velky Pataki yet, so I can't give an opinion on that. But I actually sat down this morning in my recliner with the Dubco stand, and I do feel like you can use it in your lap. Like I put my legs around the base of it. So I had it between my legs. I feel like you need a chair that is like wide like a recliner, like the chair at the retreat. There's no way that you could use it sitting on it. It would have to be on the table. It is a very sturdy stand. What I like though about the Velky Pataki and what appeals to me about that one is that it will hold Q-snaps comfortably in the clamp. So we'll see when I get that. I am not expecting to have that before the retreat. I will take my Dubco stand with me. And McKenna, Stitching and Sequins, she is going to that retreat, and she has also had ordered a Dubco stand. So she's like, "Ooh, we'll be twins because we'll both have it." And I'm sure we'll have questions because when people see a new stand or whatever, they'll definitely be asking because not a lot of those people watch my videos. I think there's 2 people in the room that do. Okay. But yeah, so, I've taken this last 2 weeks to sort of reflect on how I conduct myself and my life. And yeah, I had to tell someone no today for something that I told them no yesterday, but they asked me twice. And I'm a people pleaser. You wouldn't believe it to hear me talk in my videos, but I don't like disappointing people or telling them no. However, I feel like I say yes way too much. And then I'm upset or I resent the people that I'm saying yes to when I should have just said no. And no is a complete sentence. I don't have to tell you why. I don't have to justify myself. No. And that suffices. So, how do you guys tell someone no and not feel guilty about it? Because that's what I came up against today, but the world's not going to end. Yeah. So I am reading a new book called The Wedding Night. I have it linked in the description box. It's actually pretty good. They said it was like a psychological thriller. It's more of a mystery and not like psychological thriller. I do have some questions, which is keeping me reading it, so that's pretty good. And also on Amazon Prime, the final season of Goliath is on there. I don't know when it came on there. It stars Billy Bob Thornton, and he's a lawyer. He's so fantastic. The other 3 seasons of that show were amazing. I absolutely loved them. And his like counterpart, I don't remember her name either, but I love her because she says the F word. She tells it like it is. She's really, really good at her job. She's a lawyer as well. So they have this final season, and I stayed up the other night, and I want to say I'm on episode 4 out of 8 already. It's really good. It's nice that Amazon, just like Netflix or some of the other shows, they release all the episodes at once. So if you want to binge watch, they're like an hour. So keep that in mind. But Billy Bob Thornton's character, you are rooting for him. You are rooting for him. I love his character in the show. He is a decent person, alcoholic, fighting that all the time, but he is a decent person, and he's really good at being a lawyer. So you are rooting for him completely. So if you haven't checked that out, I think my favorite season was the first one. And I feel like that's it with a lot of shows. You know, you don't know going in what to expect. Like The Sinner, that's another one that's really fantastic with Jessica Biel is in the first one. Fantastic show. And there is another one of that coming out soon, I think. Bill Pullman is in that as well. He is in every season of The Sinner. Bill Pullman is fantastic. He's like the investigative detective. Yeah, lots of good shows out there. We are watching Big Brother. Big Brother finale is tonight. We will probably not watch that until tomorrow. So try to avoid Facebook to avoid, or, you know, anywhere that I can avoid the spoilers on that. But yeah, shows are ending. The shows that we were watching. Okay. So yeah, I do want to get this diamond painting done because I really want to start Maleficent. It'd be nice to work on that during the Halloween season. I can't believe that Friday is October 1st. It just seems so crazy that this year is going by like that. And Bill was like, you know, we need to sit down and talk about Christmas gifts. And I'm like, I can't. I fucking can't yet. I can't. I have bought some gifts. Like I bought my dad gifts just because I saw them when I was out. Like I haven't made a concerted effort to do Christmas shopping yet because I fucking can't yet. Let me get through Halloween. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. And Halloween, I mean, it's going to be here before we know it. And it's on a Sunday this year, I think. Yes, it is. So, at least I won't have work to contend with. And usually, the past 2 years, we have not given out candy. But it has been such a pain in the ass to, like, figure out where to go and what to do for like 4 or 5 hours, because trick-or-treaters usually come around here between like 5 and 9 p.m. that this year I've just resigned myself to us giving out candy. I haven't told Bill that, but I'm sure he'll be fine with it. Plus, we bought a fire pit, so we can have that going out there. We did that one year, and that was a lot of fun. Put it in our driveway and sat around that so we weren't freezing our ass off. But yeah, I'm looking forward to our hot tub being open. I know I said that. Yeah, I can't wait. But yeah, enjoying the stitching on the antique copper Jobelan. It's a beautiful fabric. Jobelan is one of my favorite fabrics and was solely what I stitched on for a long, long time when I first got back into stitching. Yeah. Okay, so today's story is another unexplained, baffling mystery. Like I say every single time, we love these and we hate these because it's not resolved. And so we give our opinions in the comments. And I give you my opinions for sure. So this one is called Room 2805. Oh boy. So on the afternoon of May 31st, 1995, an attractive young woman arrived at the reception desk of the Luxury Plaza Hotel in Oslo, Norway. The woman was petite with short dark hair. She was dressed all in black. She told the receptionist that she had a reservation under the names of Louis and Jennifer Fairgate, and then filled in the registration card giving her address as Verlaine, Belgium. The receptionist didn't ask if Mr. Fairgate was also checking in. She assumed that the man she saw lurking in the background was Louis. "Welcome to the Oslo Plaza Hotel," she said, handing over the key card for room 2805. "I hope you enjoy your stay." Jennifer Fairgate had just pulled off a trick that most of us would never get away with. She had just checked into a 5-star hotel without tendering a credit card. Whether this was merely an oversight by the receptionist remains unclear. It is one of the many anomalies that continue to baffle scholars of this extraordinary affair. Okay, this must be a really cuckoo crazy story then. In any case, Jennifer retreated to her room and went unseen for the next 3 days. Then eventually the credit card error was picked up and a staff member was sent to room 2805 to resolve the matter. There was a do not disturb sign on the door, but the employee knocked anyway. He could not have expected what happened next. From within the room came a loud pop. He recognized it immediately as a gunshot. What? The employee was quite naturally alarmed by the sound of gunfire, so much so that he sprinted toward the first junction in the corridor and took cover. From there, he peered around the corner and kept 2805 under surveillance. He expected to see someone exiting the room at any moment, perhaps the person who had fired the gun. But the door remained steadfastly closed during the few minutes he was watching, and so he ran to the elevator and went to alert his supervisor. When he returned some 15 minutes later, it was with the head of security in tow. After knocking at the door and getting no response, the men entered using a pass key to bypass the double lock. An acrid smell immediately assailed their noses as they stepped inside. That was when they spotted Jennifer Fairgate lying fully clothed across the bed. A bullet hole perforated the center of her forehead. Backing out of the room, careful not to touch anything, the men went to call the police. So on the face of it, this looked like a clear case of suicide, right? A Browning 9mm pistol was clutched in the dead woman's hand, and the room had been double locked from the inside, meaning that no one had exited after the shot was fired. But there were things that didn't add up, things that cast doubt on the initial assessment. The grip on the gun was unusual. Before we even get any further, my question is, does she have a room with a balcony where someone could have entered or exited through there? Okay. The grip on the gun was unusual, with the thumb inserted into the trigger guard and apparently used to pull the trigger. A weapon as powerful as the Browning would have been nigh on impossible to control with this grip. The only way that it might have been achieved was if the free hand was used to hold the barrel. But in that case, there would have been powder burns, and there weren't any. Also, there was the issue of blood spatter. Blood droplets had landed on the walls and the furnishings, and some were even sprayed on the ceiling. Jesus Christ. Yet the victim's hands, which would have been inches from the bullet wound in the case of suicide, were curiously free of blood. These were perplexing questions for the police, but they weren't the only ones found inside the hotel room. As detectives tried to confirm the dead woman's identity, they encountered another puzzle. She had no passport, no driver's license, no credit cards, or other form of ID. What? Then the police looked inside the closet, and the mystery deepened even further. Miss Fairgate had brought an odd ensemble to the Oslo Plaza, with plenty of tops but no slacks, skirts, or dresses. The mysterious guest had also carried in no toiletries save for a bottle of men's cologne. And all of the labels had been removed from her clothes for some unknown reason. Okay, let me tell you, when I went to this retreat, and I was only there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, came home Sunday, I felt like I packed the fucking world, right? To go away for 3 days. So this is so bizarre, the packing. Then there was the briefcase in an expensive designer type of brown leather, which contained nothing but a supply of bullets for the Browning, 34 of them. 34 bullets? Jesus. Had Jennifer come here to commit suicide or to start a war, right? As for the gun itself, it offered few clues. The serial numbers had been removed with acid, and according to one cop with experience of such things, it looked like a professional job. One last option remained for the police to identify the victim. The corpse was fingerprinted and the print sent to Interpol, hoping for a match. When that inquiry returned nothing, the case was at a standstill. My God, they can't even identify her. The coroner had in any case ruled the death a suicide. Nothing remained to be investigated. The mystery woman was buried in an unmarked grave, and there she would remain until 2015. So what was this, 1992? Okay, so that's like 23 years later. There she would remain until 2015, when investigative journalist Lars Christian Wagner took on the task that the police had failed to complete, the task of finding out who Jennifer Fairgate really was. So Wagner came to the case with a number of challenges to overcome. 2 decades had passed. So by this time, it's 20 years have passed. Yeah, it was more than that. Evidence had been discarded, and some of it had even been sold at a police auction. Witnesses had moved on or had died, memories had faded. Nonetheless, the journalist took enthusiastically to the task. First, he traveled to Verlaine, Belgium, the place that Jennifer had claimed as her home. This is a tiny village of around 3,000 inhabitants, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone else. Yet no one had ever heard of Jennifer nor recognized her picture. The address she'd given was similarly non-existent. She had claimed to live at Rue de la Stade. The street was real enough, but the house number she provided was not. Verlaine had been a dead end, just as Wagner had suspected it might be. His next move was to return to the scene of the crime to examine the records of Jennifer Fairgate's stay. Here, a new wrinkle would emerge. Up until now, the narrative had described a deeply depressed young woman who had checked into a luxury hotel with the express intention of ending her life there. After remaining in her room for 3 days, she had eventually plucked up the courage to do so. She had pulled the trigger just as hotel security was about to enter. The records, though, told a different story. Jennifer had not remained in her room, mulling her impending demise. In fact, her keycard had been used several times. On one occasion, she had been away from the hotel for 20 hours. Where had she been during that time? Had she visited someone here in Oslo, and if so, who? And why hadn't that person come forward when the story was dominating the newspapers, when the police were appealing for information? It was yet another mystery stacked upon the many enigmas already permeating this case, right? But perhaps there was a way of resolving this, of identifying the dead woman once and for all, and finally getting to the bottom of this whole affair. An exhumation order was acquired, biological samples obtained, a DNA profile extracted. This was submitted to various databases, but regrettably turned up no match. All that could be ascertained was that the woman was of European descent and probably German. Tests on her teeth indicated that she was born in the early 1970s and probably spent her childhood to mid-teens in East Germany, then under communist rule. This revelation surfaced a whole new theory that Jennifer Fairgate had been a spy. Okay. This idea definitely bears thinking about, and it would certainly resolve some of the questions surrounding the case. Why had Fairgate checked into the Oslo Plaza under such secrecy while she was on a mission? Did you guys ever see the movie Point of No Return with Bridget Fonda? So good, where she becomes a hit woman. Oh my God, such a good movie. So where was she during those missing 20 hours? She was meeting with an asset. Who killed her? Probably an enemy operative. There is also evidence in the case which espionage experts would recognize as trade craft. The removed clothing labels, for example, and the professional way in which the serial number was removed from the gun. So this is a neat theory, tying off many of the loose strands. However, it is probably wrong. Espionage operations rely on secrecy, and secrecy relies on cover. An operative in the field needs to blend in, attracting no undue attention. Credentials, therefore, have to appear legitimate. Passports, credit cards, residence, family history, all of these need to check out if held up to scrutiny. This was clearly not the case with Fairgate. No intelligence agency would send an operative into the field with such an easily falsifiable backstory with no credentials, because to do so would put the mission at risk. So, who was Jennifer Fairgate? A drug mule? A high-class hooker? A hired assassin? A fugitive from the mob? All of these ideas have been suggested, and none of them really holds up. Perhaps the simple answer is the correct one after all. Perhaps she was just a depressed young woman who checked into a hotel room and took her own life. Except that there are problems with that theory too. The blood spatter, the absence of powder burns, the grip on the gun. We will probably never know what really happened inside room 2805. Well, that sucked, because that didn't really tell us anything. Like I said, they didn't even mention if her room had a balcony, because that would have been the first thing they would have investigated, I'm guessing, right? I don't even have a theory for that. Like, what happened? It's so weird. The whole thing is strange. Yeah. Okay, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. So, let's find ourselves an affirmation to read today for success and happiness. Today it is actually very, very nice out. Yesterday was pretty warm, but for the rest of the week, it's supposed to be in the low 70s, which is fantastico. Okay. I am trying to find one. Okay, I like this one. Oh, by Glenn Close. Okay, so she gave this in her 2019 William and Mary commencement speech. Can you imagine having a celebrity do your commencement at your college? I don't even remember who did mine. Okay, so she said, "Your perspective is unique. It's important and it counts." Absolutely. You're entitled to feel what you feel. You count. I don't care who you are. You're important. It counts. It matters. You matter, right? So just keep that in mind, that everyone's perspective is unique, because we are seeing the world through our filter, right? Through your filter of how everything affects you. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you go through your day today. I hope you guys all have a fantastic Wednesday. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.